Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Rak Gol. Now this is part 3. If you don't know who the Rak Gol are, please click on the link above or below. That's going to take you to part 1, explaining who the Rak Gol species is. Today we're going to be talking about the individual subcategories of this species. So we're going to get into the different, I guess you could say, units of the Rak Gol species. And again, what I want to do is ask you guys right now, while you're listening to the actual video, think in your mind, who do you think is stronger, the Rak Gol as a species or the Tyranids as a species? And comment down below, let me know who do you think would win in like a fight, just a one planetary fight between the Tyranids and the Rak Gol. But let's get into 40 facts about the Rak Gol. Marauders are the foot troops of the Rak Gol. Most of these wretched Xenos are modified with at least one type of cybernetic implant, though it is far more common for them to have more. These creatures have blooded themselves on hunts and survive to join in others. They are crazed and bloodthirsty, reveling in the destruction they create. Though they are capable of some level of tactical cunning, Marauders usually overwhelm their opponent with speed and raw ferociousness. When they attack and board other ships in the void, it is the Marauders that defenders must face. Each with their own combination of weapons and gear, Marauders are also rarely encountered alone. They tend to hunt in packs of 10 to 20, making the most of their terror mob tactics. Marauders are unsubtle in their brutal tactics. Many simply go for the kill directly, but they are not mindless brutes. Those that man the various gunneries and helm stations of their vessels show ingenuity and a grasp of spatial tactics that belies their primitive stature. The Abominations are the rarest caste of the Rak Gol encountered by the denizens of the Corynus Expanse, and appear to be the leaders of the Rak Gol species. It is unknown if there are any other castes higher than these. Each one's appearance is unique and heavily modified. Many of them possess bionics and cybernetic implants that are ubiquitous to the Rak Gol, yet they also have been modified by what appears to be implants and devices very similar to those of the Yuvath. In fact, there have been speculation amongst the Magos biologists of the Adeptus Mechanicus that the Rak Gol may have stumbled upon Yuvath technology and somehow formed some manner of relationship with it. However, there exist no records of the Rak Gol having served the Yuvath during the Angevin Crusade. The Rak Gol only appear within the Corynus Expanse a little over a century ago, far too late to have fought within the Yuvath in this crusade. As well as leading the Rak Gol in battle, Abominations are thought to be the spiritual leaders, but like so much of the Rak Gol society, no concrete evidence exists to support this theory. It is thought that these Abominations also plan all of the Rak Gol raids, positioning their warriors across the Corynus Expanse as if following some mysterious plan. Should this plan reach fruition, it could spell disaster for other intelligent races of the Expanse. The Broodmasters are the commanders of the Marauders. These vicious creatures follow the directives of the leadership caste, Abominations, and lead the numerous raids against the other races of the Expanse. The Broodmasters are also the ones who captain the larger ships of the Rak Gol forces, and they tend to do most of the tactical planning, with input from the Abominations above them. They are typically distinguished by the amount of bionics and cybernetics their bodies support, and by the fact that they inspire the loyalty of other Rak Gol, especially the Marauders. These horrid Xenos organize packs into frenzied mobs, and work them into wild fury, foaming at the mouth in anticipation of a kill. Some of the tactics employed by the Broodmasters resemble those of bestial predators, yet there are some that are distinctively Rak Gol in nature. One of the most common methods employed involves a single Rak Gol void ship laying in wait along a known warp route. When the ships traveling that route transition from warp to change course or get a navigational fix, the Rak Gol strike, attempting to disable the other vessels. Once disabled, the Rak Gol board the vessel and kill any they find left alive, except for a chosen few. These they leave alive, shocked and horrified, to summon rescue through vox or astropathic signals. In the meantime, the Rak Gol reinforce their position with a host of other ships, laying in ambush until the rescue ships get within range. It has been reported that the Rak Gol leave behind few of their own brood aboard the damaged ships, laying in wait for any potential rescuers. Once the leaders determine the proper moment to strike, the entire mob attacks in a frenzy of blood and gore, storming ships, tearing through the bulkhead, and leaving barren vessels open to the void in their wake. There is also a subclass of Rak Gol leaders called Clutchmasters. These are the lesser leaders of the cast, often acting as lieutenants or mob enforcers during combat. Typical packs of Rak Gol are almost always led by a Clutchmaster, who takes direction from either the Broodmaster or the Abominations above them. Clutchmasters also captain the lesser Marauder ships of the Rak Gol broods. It should be noted that there is little to distinguish a Broodmaster from a Clutchmaster in close combat. Rak Gol Carvers are a subset of this species that have recently been seen spearheading their lightning assaults. These creatures are slightly smaller than many of their comrades, though they still tower over humans, built for speed in lieu of raw power, and armed with savage melee weapons. Their presence is often a precursor to a larger Marauders, Broodmaster Abomination, and occasionally the dreaded Techno Shamans. Mercifully rare, Renders are larger and even more violent than typical Rak Gol. They are easily recognized, even in isolation, as they never carry any additional armaments and typically are almost always totally covered with protruding cybernetic modifications. Reports indicate that these specimens are almost universally encountered at the forefront of Rak Gol void ship attacks. In most instances, fewer than 10 renders are present. Their additional implants and muscle mass serve them well as they present the largest target in such conflicts. Renders universally show a 30 to 45% increase in muscle mass when compared to Marauders with a comparably sized skeletal structure. Renders also showed a marked structural change in overall neutral structure. It is unclear if the increase of overall number and types of cybernetic enhancements are all fully functional within the specimens examined. It may be that some of these implants serve only as additional armored protection. Few of the implants present in the examined specimens appear functional. Alternatively, it might be that some of the additional cybernetics were used to transform a Marauder into a Render. Previous studies suggest that Rak Gol may be capable of biological change in response to cultural pressure. Rak Gol hunting parties, and by extension their ships, sometimes contain one or more Psykers, or Techno Shamans. The normal prey of a Rak Gol hunting party is weak in comparison to the beast that stalk them. For these hunts, a pack of 3 to 10 Rak Gol hunters is more than sufficient to ensure that no being escapes. Sometimes, for unknown reasons, the Techno Shamans may lead the hunt. These creatures are terrifying destroyers, blurring the line between mind and machine, and unleashing brutal torrents of invisible annihilation from strange, crystalline implants that seem to have grown into their bodies. Some superstitious voidsmen also claim that these abominations have the ability to corrupt machine spirits to their own destructive ends, though numerous reputable explorators in the expanse have dismissed this claim as both heretical and ridiculous. Available Imperial records do not spell out reasons for the difference between normal Rak Gol attacks and these other more disturbing accounts. Deeper research and bribes to the right officials get access to accounts that are not part of the standard Imperial documentation. These backroom conversations and hurried relay transmissions show that there is one connecting factor between all appearances of Techno Shamans: the lost technology and lore of the long-dead Xeno species known as the Yuvath. If the target of the Rak Gol hunting party contains a person with either an artifact of Yuvath origin or knowledge, subconscious or otherwise, of Yuvath technology, then a Techno Shaman may well lead the Marauders, guiding them to this individual for some unknown, sinister purpose. And those were 40 facts about the Rak Gol. It's really interesting because this now opens up another huge question, and what is the Yuvath, or who were the Yuvath? So of course, stay tuned so we can research that and give you guys more lore on the Yuvath. And it's just awesome to hear about species of Warhammer 40K that don't really exist in the actual Warhammer 40K game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's going to be a part 4 where we go over the technology of the Rak Gol, so we're not done talking about them. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you already are a subscriber and you want to support us and help us create more videos for you guys, jump on over to Patreon. A simple $1 a month helps us create more videos for you. If you can't, that's fine. We understand. Simply by liking, commenting, and sharing on Facebook, Twitter, whatever your social media may be, share this, and it really helps out the channel. With that said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.